Now, welcome to Visions Volume 2 Review and Discussion. This time it's the episode simply called Sith that we will be discussing.
This one comes from Studio El Guri. It is from Spain. What are your first thoughts?
It was good. It was the most stylistic and interesting in that department.
Oh, definitely. It had a very, maybe oil painting type feel to it. It was beautifully done on that. I like how they embraced that not only through the art style they chose, but the character also loved to paint and was a painter.
That was interesting, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the kind of idea here is, the canvas of life is blank and it is painted with darkness and light, right?
Right. She spent so much time in the darkness. I mean, you saw it from the opening shot. Her name is Lola, by the way, which we only know because it was in
we
the
watched with
subtitles.
Subtitles on our second viewing of it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But her name is Lola. You can tell right from the beginning she's sleeping, and the whole area is white, clean, blank canvas, but where she is centralized in darkness.
Because she's a former Sith apprentice.
Mm-hmm. We even find out that today is the day of the Eclipse, which also symbolizes, of course, the blocking out of the light by darkness and then getting through the other side, which is kind of the story that she portrays.
Yeah, a lot of symbolism in this episode. Again, it's the most stylistic, most kind of profound in a way, or attempted profound. I'm not saying it didn't succeed, but in some ways I think it is missing part of the point.
Well, that's because you are a short, so...
Well, sure.
That doesn't help to get a giant point across. I also liked her droid, E2. He was cute. He kind of reminded me of the game Portal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The cake is a lie.
The cake is a lie.
Yes.
Although, there's cake. But it's really cool. The fact that you see her in the beginning, which feels a little long at first until you really, think about it. The fact that she's painting, she's constantly struggling against darkness, and she's rejecting it over and over again. She doesn't want it to be a part of her, but she tries to cover up the paint that she's doing, and the darkness just seeps through. She cannot escape it. Suppressing it, covering up, escaping, running from it, none of these things work.
Yeah, this is very kind of reminiscent to the Season 6 Clone Wars arc, the Yoda arc, where he kind of comes to terms with darkness being a part of him.
Mm-hmm.
But the big difference here is that Yoda ultimately acknowledges darkness as a part of him, but rejects it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this episode kind of ends with her almost embracing the darkness as a part of her.
Right. It's a little different, of course, from the standard looks of light and dark in Star Wars canon, where she's coming to terms with darkness is a part of me, but that doesn't mean I'm rejecting light.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
She understands that I can be a being of light and still have darkness within me and have it still be a part of me that she apparently will access.
Yeah. Getting too gray Jedi for me there.
I do like that she rode around on a Grievous bike.
She did, yeah. Grievous bike,
the
sure.
Grievous bike.
Yes.
That's what I'm calling it, because that was what it was. I did think it was funny that she reminds me of Pixar moms.
Pixar moms?
Everyone knows the Pixar moms joke.
Not everyone.
They have a thinner waist with kind of a thicker thigh,
okay. I guess I do
bum
know that.
skull area.
Yeah. Bum skull?
Bum skull.
Keeping it very PG.
Yeah.
Here.
She was the Pixar mom, and they had to get the Pixar mom shot when she got on the bike, and we're like, yep, there it is.
The obligatory
the butt
ass shot? Yes. I'll say ass.
I'll say butt. So she did her Grievous
Bum
butt
skull.
shot, and you're like, there it is.
Her Grievous butt. I've never wanted to see Grievous's ass. I'll just say that right now. That's the only part of flesh they kept from him. They just put some cheeks on the back end of him. That's where he wears the cape. Yeah. He's very, very self-conscious about that part.
Her old master, who we never get a name for, he reminded me a
Sith
little
master,
bit. Yeah, Sith Master. He reminded me a little bit
name.
of kind of KOTOR or SWOTOR.
He had a very cool look to him.
He had a cool Malik kind of...
Yeah, I see what you're going with, yeah.
Malgus kind of look.
More kind of, Old Republic-y.
It's probably because he had a thing covering the lower half of his face.
Yeah, that's all it takes.
That's what it is.
You need the breather thing on the lower half.
But it was cool because he did the scary serial killer thing where you only see him, walking at her, which makes it more frightening because you're like, she can't escape. He doesn't even have to work hard to pursue her because he knows she can't escape him. And she's like, it's the terror thing, like with the Halloween movies.
Yeah.
Michael Myers didn't go running after.
No, he doesn't need to run.
After Laurie.
He teleports when nobody's looking.
He's just there, and he walks slowly and deliberately. Same feel there, the very menacing, overpowered nature of the Sith.
Yeah, and you can't get away from the darkness. You can never escape it kind of feeling
It's there,
yeah.
yes. The moment the eclipse starts, is when he shows up, which is really cool for the style, because that's when the screen gets more red, because we are now in the heart of the eclipse. Here is the darkness come for her. The light is now blocked.
Yeah.
I also thought it was really cool, his droids, when they were jetpack flying and racing around, that looked awesome. The jets
I like the one who got his head blown off by E2. Is that what? Yeah, that was his name.
Yeah, E2 just like turns into a mini cannon. He's like, there we go. Got him. And then the old master shows up, rips him apart, and she still runs. She doesn't, go back for him or anything. She just still runs.
Yeah.
Because she's that afraid of the darkness, of she feels is still inside of her, what's pursuing her, which is his symbol of darkness.
Yeah, it's ironic that you're not supposed to be afraid of the dark. But you're not supposed to embrace it either.
Right, and then...
You acknowledge it and reject it at the same time.
And then we get the lightsaber battle, which was, again, beautiful.
Yeah, that looked cool.
Yeah, I like when the sabers collided and you saw, like, paint splash off of it. And then you saw it reflected in the environment. He's bringing the darkness and the oppression, and you feel it and everything in this dark. And she tries to fight back with the light and turns it back into her beautiful space. And he goes, no, you can't run from this. And he just brings dark right back. And that's what it took for her to realize she can't run. That it was a part of her. And that's when she ignites the second half of her really cool shaped lightsaber. It was kind of like an S-blade thing. I actually thought it was really cool. It reminded me of Lord of the Rings. That scene at the very beginning when they're facing down more and they all flick their little things around. I was like, those are the type of weapon that they are. I don't know what they're called, but it's like really cool. It's like two scimitars put together.
That's what we'll call them. Double scimitar.
Right, but that's where you got to see that she's embracing the light and the darkness and being a non-canon Grey Jedi. I have to say non-canon,
you have to,
or else
you'll
be very
set me
upset.
off. Yeah. No, I like what the episode's kind of going for. The idea that darkness and light are, are all part of the canvas, let's say.
Well, it's very human in a way. You can't say that most humans don't exist with that darkness inside.
I think we all have
the choices we make.
I think even the best person alive or has ever lived has had a darkness to them, a dark thought or a limit or a line that they could be pushed to that they would become something else.
And sometimes you use that to make strength. You can't say that sometimes getting angry doesn't make you stronger.
Well, I mean, Sith draw their strength from their emotions, right? Jedi peace and let the Force flow through you. I mean, that's why Grey Jedi doesn't exactly work, because they're just, it's like one is trying to go upstream, the other's kind of trying to go downstream or going with the flow. That's why I've never been a fan of the Grey Jedi idea, just in case anybody's out there is wondering. That's how I can put it simply.
Plus, you look at it as the dark side. Darkness is a poison that corrupts everything you do. You can't.
That's another thing I like.
It's like when you start dropping, you drop poison into a cup of water. That one drop is going to corrupt the whole cup. It's not safe.
Yeah, but no, we all have our darkness and our light within us. I'm not denying that. I'm not saying like the Jedi have no darkness within them. Again, you go back to that Yoda episode. Yoda acknowledges the darkness is within me, but I reject it. I don't use that.
But at the same time, thankfully, she never said she was a Jedi. She just said she wasn't a Sith.
I know. I didn't.
But
you do have a point there. She's not trying to be like, I'm a Jedi.
No, she's not trying to be a Jedi. She's trying to just not be a Sith.
True. So maybe I have to kind of re-examine that aspect of it. Because she's not as... Yeah. Because she's acknowledging that I have walked the dark path, but I reject to walk it now. But it's still... I'm never going to get over that entirely, but I do have to learn how to control it, I guess.
Exactly.
That might be the message they're going for here.
Right, to kind of control those darker impulses.
Yeah.
Instead of using them to harm, using them to maybe to your own benefit. She couldn't do her painting without darkness. Yeah,
life would be kind of boring if everything was just perfect and we were all good. And I mean, maybe boring isn't the right way to put it, but but you know what I mean. Like, part of what makes life interesting is we do have our internal battles and our internal struggles that make us stronger in the end.
Yeah. So overall, I can definitely say I enjoyed this episode. I loved the style. I liked the art of it. The story was good. It felt a little slow at the beginning until you... Like, my second time through, I enjoyed even more than my first time through.
I did as
because
well.
I had... The symbolism, I already knew what the symbolism was supposed to be. So then I could really see it in the beginning more so, which was really nice.
Yeah, I agree. The first time I watched it, I was like, and then it had the ending where she was kind of embracing the dark side a little bit. And I'm like, not a huge fan of that. Mm-hmm. But upon the second viewing, I kind of, as you said, I'm kind of already know what it's going to be about. I'm not trying to figure out the story. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to dig into it a little more.
Like I said, and the symbolism just seemed much more prevalent when you already know what it was going to symbolize.
That's exactly what I'm saying. When you already know what you're kind of looking for and what to analyze, it actually made the story a lot better. This one actually got much better on the second viewing. The first one, I wasn't really a fan of it. And then I watched it again. I'm like, you know what? I like what you're kind of going for now that you've kind of discussed it and reminded me, like, she's not trying to be a Jedi, right?
No, she's not
she's
trying
simply
to be
trying
a Jedi.
she's trying not to be a Sith.
She's trying not to fall to that complete darkness. She's trying to hold on to the light, that goodness.
Yeah, and when you look at it that way, I think that actually makes it even better.
Yes.
All right, well, that is going to be all we got for you this time. So now it's your turn to take to the comments below and tell us what you thought of the episode Sith. We will try to be doing 1 or 2 episodes per day before getting to a tier list. I don't know how many exactly we'll do, what days they'll come out or anything. It's just kind of going to be random, I guess. But either way, take to the comments below. Tell us what you thought of this episode. Let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.